Yo, what is going on, everybody? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we are going to be doing our picks for week number 10 of the 2020 fantasy football season. Obviously, this is episode now number 12. We did two preseason videos, and now this is obviously episode 10 in the season, but it's episode 12 combined. In this video, we are going to be giving you guys 4 regular picks as well as 1 lock of the week that we go up against Snacks and Animal of Bagels and Locks. And right now, we are absolutely slaying them, so there's no need to even bring up the record. Don't want to make them cry a little bit in case they watch this. So with that said, I will give you guys our records real quick, and then we'll get into it. Right now, I am 17-21 on picks, which obviously isn't great, but 6-3 on locks, which brings my total up to 23-24. Lucas is absolutely murdering your bookie, just like the name of the show. 24-14, 7-2 on locks, bringing his total to 31-16, bringing his ROI to 65.96. If I just somehow win a couple of games here, get my total over, even, then we're going to be looking pretty good for the season. We are combined 49-35, and our combined ROI is 57.45. So all I have to do is just get above 52 or 53% ROI, and then we're going to be skyrocketing here. So let's just get into it here. Lucas, do you have anything to say before we get into it?
Nope.
Alrighty, so at the end of this video, we will give our locks, and then we do this we've changed it. If you guys haven't watched for a while, or if you're new, we actually used to do it we would just read our picks down in like some random order. They really had no significance except for the lock. Now we actually rank them in order of our opinion. So I will start with my number 2 pick, and then the number 1 pick is at the end, and then Lucas will go, obviously, and we go down the line. So my second most confident pick is the Seattle Seahawks versus the Los Angeles Rams. Seattle -1.5, but I actually think Seattle is +1.5. I'm just a dumbass, and I wrote that wrong. That is true. For some reason, Seattle is the underdog in this matchup, which makes absolutely zero sense in my opinion. I think the Seattle Seahawks, sure, they lost that game last week when everyone had them. Now everyone is down bad because they lost $1 zillion on the Seattle Seahawks because they figured that they would beat the Buffalo Bills, when in reality, it's very hard to ask a guy like Russell Wilson to come back in every single game, every single week, but he lost. So frankly, I think this week, he's going to end up winning. The Rams defense hasn't looked all that amazing. I've seen a lot of people talk about the Rams defense. The Rams offense is also kind of iffy. It really is a tale of a different Jared Goff on a weekly basis. One week you get Jared Goff that looks like Patrick Mahomes, looks like Aaron Rodgers. Then the next week you'll get Mark Sanchez or Mitch Trubisky Jared Goff. So it's literally either one or the other, and it's a complete and utter dice roll which one is going to be. I honestly wanted to just take the over in this game, but I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to bounce back. I think Russell Wilson, there's no way he loses this game 2 games in a row. I think the Seattle Seahawks absolutely roll the LA Rams, but it will be close. But I'll take the team that is not even favored. Somehow Seattle's an underdog to the Rams, who I think the Rams last game, they got butt fucked by the Dolphins. I think they had a bye last week. They did. So, yeah, the Dolphins, not the Dolphins, the fucking Seahawks are going to roll the Rams, in my opinion. What do you think about this game? Seattle versus the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little skewed to what happened last week in Seattle, in which Russell Wilson had 4 turnovers inside their own 30. So it was super self-inflicted, and they almost, I mean, besides the last turnover, like they were right in the game. I mean, they were down by 2 scores, but they were still pushing back. Like they had a chance to come back. I I don't want to say that Seattle should be favored in this matchup, however, though, because I think the Rams at home, this should be more of a pick 'em. And I know it's like, wait, what? Like, is that actually legit? But I think in a Rams at home, the Rams always play Seattle good. These games are usually shootouts. It should be more of a pick 'em. So yeah, I agree that I think the 1.5 is the right side. I honestly think the money line is probably the better bet, I guess you could say, if you had to pick one of the game, but you could play them both. And teasing them over 7.5 is definitely um, probably like the number one like teaser leg that you could do this week too. So yeah, I think that's the right side in this game.
Yeah, for sure. The Bills just looked really, really good last week. That's like the best I've seen the Bills this season, and it's no surprise when the Seattle Seahawks defense looks like absolute shit. Jamal Adams came back, and it didn't even seem like he had an effect in the game, but I think he'll have a much bigger effect this week. Maybe he was a little banged up or something. I have no idea. Well, obviously he was banged up because he was coming back from an injury where he missed since like week number 2. So let's hope we get a better Seattle team this week. So who's your number 2 most confident pick this week?
Yeah, I'm not trying to pick them every week, but I just keep going back to Denver here, and it's kind of hit or miss. It's kind of 50% right now is sort of the way we're hitting, which I know is not profitable, but I just got to take advantage of when they're apparently 5 points worse than the Oakland Raiders, I guess is kind of the way I see it. I think the Raiders are still the better team. And I've been saying this every week with every Denver bet I'm playing. Like the other team is usually better, right? The Chargers are probably better. The Falcons are probably better, but the Raiders are not 5 points better than the Denver Broncos. The Raiders defense has been getting torched the last 3 or 4 weeks, just absolutely slammed. And I think none of the Broncos offense is super efficient, but Jerry Jeudy finally sort of had his breakout, like number one alpha receiver role that I think he's going to roll into this week. Alberto is hurt, which I guess hurts, but honestly, it just gives Noah Fant more snaps, which is probably better in the long run. And I think the Denver Broncos defense they'll get Bouye and Callahan back this week, and that's kind of something where people don't necessarily realize it because they just think the Denver Broncos corners aren't good. But when those two play, they're pretty locked down. It's not like you have to lock down Nelson Aguilar or Henry Ruggs or anything, but having that cushion helps. So I'm going to take the +5 here. Yeah, I think I'm just taking the points because I think the Raiders games have been close. We saw last week that the Chargers, I think they lost by 5 actually on the dot, but had a chance at the end of the game just to push them. So I think this defense, there's no way the defense keeps it outside of the 5 points for the Broncos.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree on that. I mean, the Raiders did look pretty good last week. The Broncos look pretty good as well. Like you said, Jerry Jeudy has looked very good, at least in the last couple of games, and he's going to continue to get better, obviously, as the season continues. Up against the Oakland defense, who are now actually the Raiders defense, which actually very much confused me. Or not the
Oh
Oakland
yeah,
defense, the Las
I
Vegas
put
defense.
Oakland.
Yeah, you wrote Oakland on the screen, which very much confused me. But then again, it's pretty obvious that who they are because they've been the Oakland Raiders my whole life. But with that said, I like that pick, Denver +5. I also like the over in that game, but I didn't put it on my sheet again because I feel like when I just think everything's going to go over, it never goes over. So every single time I say like, oh, there's going to be a shootout in this game, like when it's like Detroit versus Atlanta, you think both the teams will just keep firing off touchdowns, and it never happens. So maybe that won't happen in this game. So you can take Denver +5. I like that pick. My next pick here, pick numero 3, pick number 2 on the show, but my third most confident pick is the Texans versus the Browns. I'm going to be taking Cleveland -3.5, and this is strictly based off the fact that I hate the Houston Texans defense. If you're being honest with you, you should honestly just buy half a point and get Cleveland at -3. But I'm not going to do that. I'll just take them at their current line on DraftKings, which we don't have a sponsor yet, but we should by next week if these motherfuckers get back to me. Texans versus Browns. I just think that the Texans defense is so shit. Like I just said, Jake Luton literally sliced and diced them last week. Now they get a real quarterback in Baker Mayfield to play against them. Now, some people don't like Baker Mayfield. I'm kind of indifferent on Baker Mayfield, but I think he'll be able to get it done up against the Houston Texans. It's really just going to be, can the receivers of Cleveland not fuck this up? Or will Nick Chubb somehow get stopped and not run for 700 yards in this game? Because if Nick Chubb is healthy, like they're saying he is going to be, this is going to be a destruction of the Houston Texans defense via Nick Chubb. And as long as Baker just looks all right in this one, I feel like there's no way the Texans are going to be in the game. Like they'll be close like a touchdown, but I don't think they're going to be close by like 3 or something. But obviously, if you can get them down to 3 or take them when they're at -3, that's the better pick. But I don't think it'll move that way. I honestly think it'll just keep going up. Cleveland -4.5, 5.5, all the way until it probably hits maybe 7 by Sunday, especially since a lot of bettors like to take the Cleveland Browns. I've noticed the Browns lines normally, in my opinion, based on what I look at, move a lot during the week since a lot of people just like the Browns. So what do you think about the Browns against the Texans?
Yeah, this one's tough because there is the hook on the 3.5.
Yeah.
It's just a weird line because I think, well, one, the Browns 3 or 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen are on the injury report, so keep monitor of that if you do want to place this game. Because if those guys are out, not that the Texans get a ton of pressure, but then the line's going to move down. So if you can catch it on the hook of 3.5 with no offensive line for the Texans or for the Browns would bet on the Texans, I think that'd be the way to go. But yeah, I think both quarterbacks are great under a clean pocket. I think they're both over 115. Baker under pressure is a QBR of 29, so that's your tip there. But the
Stat.
Texans, yeah, it's so bad. But the Texans, like I said, don't get a ton of pressure, so like you don't have to worry too much, I guess. So that's why it's kind of weird because like all these things line up for Cleveland to smash them, but then like we know who the Browns are, we know their defense has been getting torched, and we know Will Fuller pretty much. Cooks has been good. So, yeah, I'm kind of in between. I think if you can get under 3, take Cleveland. This is kind of like one of those ones where I've been saying if you can take the hook, take the other team. But if you can get under 3, take Cleveland here. So, I'm just kind of in between on it. Maybe we'll know more by Sunday with the O-line situation, or maybe the line will move either way.
Yeah, it's also supposed to be rainy in this game in Cleveland. Who would have known it's going to rain in Cleveland? And if it starts
True.
raining very heavily, then I think you would just smash the Browns because the Browns will be able to run all over the Texans, and the Texans don't even have David Johnson likely in this game. It'll probably be Duke Johnson. So I just feel like they'd have a strong advantage in the rushing game. But it is going to be a Duke Johnson revenge game, so I will be taking every single prop for Duke Johnson in this game because he's going to slay the Browns.
Facts.
So,
Facts.
who's your third pick here, or your second pick, but your third most confident pick?
Yeah, it's the Patriots +7 here. I think I'm basing this around the fact that the last time the Patriots played the Ravens, remember last year, it was like the biggest. I would say it was probably the biggest momentum shifter game of the year. I think it was on Monday night or Sunday night, and the Ravens just came out and stomped them. Like with the first quarter, like you knew the game was over type of situation. It was like the Bucks and Saints. Like you knew the Saints, but the game was over after that first quarter, just the way they were moving the ball on offense. But now this year, like sort of it's swinged a little bit. So Belichick's really good at what? Taking away the number one player on the team. I don't think you have to do that for the Ravens anymore. Like I don't think you have to contain Lamar at the rate you used to do that. I don't think you have to make these defensive shifts to contain Lamar. I get the Patriots defense plays a lot of 6 DBs, but I think they can shift a little bit more to the inside to cover Mark Andrews. And I think the New England offense has been showing a little bit these last 3 weeks that they can sort of attack Baltimore, and the run game has been fine. So I just think the 7's too much. Some books have 7.5, which I would gladly take that. But I just think that the line's a little off from where New England's been trending, and maybe they just haven't caught up on this new Baltimore team that we're seeing. They could prove me wrong. Lamar could come out and run for 100 yards, and it'd just be one of those things where, okay, move back on. Baltimore's back to normal. But I think it's still a little off of what it should be for the Sunday night game or Monday night game. I know it's a primetime game. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was fucking hilarious how Lamar was on Rich Eisen's show like 2 days ago, and he's like, yeah, the defenses can actually, they're calling out what's going to happen. Like, no shit, Lamar, you're going to run the ball. Like, what are you talking about?
He just doesn't, like, I don't even want to say he doesn't look good. Like, there's like, I don't even know. But I guess like the take of teams will adjust to his running like actually came true. And I just didn't believe in that because that's such like a, I don't know, like it's just like not a take, I guess is the way to say it. But it did come true. Teams are just containing him, and it's obviously limiting this offense clearly.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't trust the Patriots. So this is just a game I'm not going to bet at all. I think the Patriots looked like dick on Monday against the Jets. How do you get torched by Joe fucking Flacco the whole game? And then I don't know what I think Joe Flacco was tanking or something because there's no way well, actually, just kidding. He's Joe Flacco. He'll throw that deep ball down the field into just the absolute abyss. He threw it to the straight up moon, and it went like 90 feet over the guy. But with that said, I mean, the Patriots somehow won that game. They're going to play good up against the Ravens. I mean, I like +7. Obviously, it's the Patriots. You're getting 7 fucking points with the best coach and one of the worst quarterbacks in football. The best combination ever. Just kidding. Cam Newton's all right, but I don't know. I'm just not going to touch this. I really have no opinion. If I was to take it, I would take the Patriots because I would never take the fucking Baltimore Ravens at -7 anymore. I mean, luckily they won last week for me up against the Colts, but that just seemed like an obvious pick in my opinion. This doesn't seem as clear, at least to me. So my next pick here is we're going to skip my 4th pick because it involves my lock. So I'll just go to my 5th pick, and then Lucas will rattle off his 4th and 5th pick, and then we'll go to the locks part where I'll talk about my other pick. And this is the 49ers versus the New Orleans Saints. I got the New Orleans Saints -9. Now, this may be an overreaction because the Saints absolutely stomped out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that game last week. And then also we saw the 49ers get stomped out by the Green Bay Packers. So this could be a double overreaction in my head. And the 49ers may be able to get close, but I don't think they will be able to. The Saints defense looked very good up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week. The Saints offense also looked very good. And Drew Brees threw fucking touchdowns to literally, I think he threw a touchdown to, who was it? It was like the fucking tight end they just drafted, Adam Troutman and Josh Hill. So even the mainstay guys on the team didn't even score touchdowns. They were just absolutely toying with Tampa Bay Tom Brady. So I think the 49ers get rolled here. Nick Mullins didn't look that good on the Thursday Night Football game. The defense didn't look good at all either. And obviously Aaron Rodgers much better than Drew Brees at this point in their careers, but I still think the Saints are going to be able to easily win this game. So I'll take them at -9. But again, they're my least confident pick for the week, but I'm still confident enough to put them on the sheet because there's 7 other million picks I could have taken. So the Saints over the 49ers. I just don't think Nick Mullins will be able to cover this. If it was CJ Beathard, I don't think he would be able to cover it either, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a quarterback switch during the game. So what do you think about the Saints up against the Niners?
Yeah, I just don't even really know like how to evaluate the Niners because I, I don't know. I think it's tough because they can. I was on them with their backup against the Patriots 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and they rolled them because they stuck to what they do. Then we see last week they just started yucking the ball downfield when they didn't really need to. Like, I mean, they were losing to the Packers pretty bad, but like they were only down by like 2 scores. They could have just tried to maintain tempo and stay within a score. But yeah, I think the way the Saints played last week, I don't think they'll change anything. They got Michael Thomas back, which clearly last week, like you could see was like they didn't really go to him that much, but like whatever, that's not like the main point. But like you saw last week that it opened up so much more
Yeah.
because they weren't having to go through Kamara. So yeah, I think this is a good pick here. I think the Niners receivers are coming back somewhat, but I don't really know if
Debo's
that
not.
like moves. Yeah, I think IU Kendrick Bourne is cleared.
Mostert is out, which
Sherman,
is a big hit.
yeah, and Coleman. I think Sherman is back next week or 2 weeks, I believe. I don't think that moves the needle too much for this Niners team.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think if Mostert played, just his big play potential would kind of scare me off of this pick, but Mostert's out again. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the other side on the New Orleans Saints. So who are your picks 4 and 5? And then we'll get to my picks 4 and then 1 because they're the same game.
Yeah, so my 4 and 5 are also in the same game here. So I have Cincinnati +7, and I also have the over 45.5. Um, the sort of persona of the Steelers defense, I don't think is false, but they're allowing a lot of air yards. I don't know the exact number. They're actually pretty vulnerable to the deep ball and allowing fantasy points to receivers kind of in a weird way, right? Because they are pretty shut down. Teams aren't moving the needle on them as much. But that's all the Bengals have done. Like they've just gotten down and they just chucked the ball deep to Higgins. They've moved the ball to Tyler Boyd. AJ Green's had some flashy games here and there. And I think they're going to continue to do that in this game. I know there's the whole COVID Big Ben on the COVID list thing. I feel like if we don't have information by now, like I think the game's going to be fine. He's going to play. Like there hasn't really been any news. When you're seeing this, I guess there'll probably be more news. But I think even the 7 here is good. You can probably get 7.5 at some books. I think that this is a game where if the Steelers get up by 10, they'll just kind of ride that to the end, and then Joe Burrow will move the ball down the field and just cover the spread. Because that's what Joe Burrow is going to do until they get a good team around him. Because these lines aren't going to adjust because the team sucks. So I'm going to take the 7 here. Kind of you could say a bounce back game for Pittsburgh, but honestly, this could just be another sleep game coming off this Cowboys not loss, but it was basically a loss to the Dallas Cowboys because they didn't even come close to covering the spread and they barely won the game. So yeah, and then the over here too. I think Steelers have an easy path to 23 points, and I think the Bengals. I don't want to say easy, but it's like it's doable, but it's just kind of like that big blinder of the Steelers defense makes this line pretty short.
Yeah, the thing is with the Steelers is they just play down to the competition. I've noticed like last week, Mike Tomlin just doesn't give a fuck. He's like, we're going to end up winning this game anyways. We won't have to try that hard. That's the problem. And that's also a good thing when you're betting against them because the Cincinnati Bengals +7, it's an in-division matchup. It's going to be a close game in my opinion. So I'll take the Bengals +7. I saw them at, I think maybe you said it, +7.5 earlier and then it moved down. But even at +7, I like it. And I like the over as well. I do though worry about Joe Burrow just getting laid the fuck out a couple of times and just throwing a stupid pick or something, obviously because he's a young quarterback, but he has been covering the spread. Like you said, they're one of the highest rate of cover this season so far.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of teams as well. And then obviously the worst team is the Cowboys at covering the spread, but the one time I pick against the Cowboys, they actually fucking win. So congratulations to me. So my fourth pick and my lock pick, because we're gonna get into the locks now. If you guys have enjoyed thus far, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. So my fourth most confident pick is also with the lock, Chargers versus the Miami Dolphins. My fourth pick is the over 48.5. I think that both of these quarterbacks have something to prove here. Now, Tua obviously said in an interview, hey, I'm not going to go ahead and try to beat Justin Herbert. No shit. Justin Herbert has nothing to do with your game. You're just playing against the defense. Justin Herbert's playing up against your defense. I do think the Dolphins defense is far superior to the Chargers defense. So with that said, I think the Dolphins win the game, which is my lock. Dolphins -2.5. This game to me seems like the Dolphins and Chargers are going to be fighting tooth and nail all the way to the end of the game, and then the Chargers will charger, which is lose the fucking game at the end of the game when they could easily win, and that is exactly what's going to happen. So the Dolphins -2.5 is going to hit, and then there's going to be 7 million points because Justin Herbert will just put points up on the board. He's kind of like Kyler Murray last week, how he was able to make it a high-scoring game, except for it's not a 5'6" guy, it's a tall man named Justin Herbert on the other side of the ball. And I think Herbert's going to be able to sling it against the Dolphins defense. I don't expect them to completely lock him down, but I do expect the Dolphins defense has scored, I think, 3 games in a row or something outrageous like that. I think that's going to happen again, probably because Justin Herbert will not be ready for the zero blitz look that the Dolphins give every single week for some reason that has resulted in a turnover every week that I guess the Anthony Lynn's too stupid to fucking realize that that's coming his way. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Dolphins -2.5 and then the over 48.5. Lucas said yesterday it was 47.5. I didn't take it at that. I took it at 48.5. But with that said, I still feel comfortable in that pick with two teams that look very good at scoring and very comfortable scoring thus far this season, especially with the Dolphins under Tua. It looked a bit different with Fitzpatrick. This game could have gone either way, to be honest with you. I wouldn't have taken either side. So what do you think here with the Dolphins -2.5?
Yeah, because I think it's the right line because I think this is home field, like the 2.5 home field because the Dolphins or sorry, the Chargers are coming, or are they? Yeah, they're in LA. Yeah, they're
It's
coming
at Dolphins.
yeah, east to west in this game, which I don't know if the Chargers. I might actually have done misspoke. Yeah, they're coming across east to west because even if they were in Nevada instead, they're over the week. They're still coming east to west for this game. So I think the home field advantage in a non-traditional way still stands. I think that the Dolphins are the better team, clearly. Obviously, the only worry is Herbert just kind of consistently putting up points, but this Dolphins defense has been consistently putting up points. So I think it just kind of negates out. I think this could be a really good game. I think the over 48.5 is still a good bet. If it gets to 49.5, I would stay off just because it's kind of a key number. And this game could easily just be the Dolphins defense just shuts down Herbert because he is a rookie. He really hasn't had that. Like Herbert will come back down to earth, right? Like he has to. Like this has to happen. It's how variance works. Like, yeah, if he doesn't, then he's gonna be a first round pick in Superflex Dynasty leagues next year, right? Like just due to the fantasy value, and this team's gonna get better. So I mean, it could be wrong. I mean, he could easily not slow down, but just on a baseline level, like he's gonna slow down. So the over, I don't want to say scary, but I think it's still a good bet. But you could tease the over down, tease the Dolphins through +3, I believe, too, which is a solid way to look at it because I think the Dolphins keep it close or the Chargers don't win by a lot if they do end up winning.
Yeah, and also if the Dolphins somehow shut down Keenan Allen, they shut down DeAndre Hopkins last week, and Herbert doesn't give a fuck. He literally throws touchdowns to the most random people. Like that guy's name was Param last week, who dropped the touchdown even though he caught it, but it didn't go through the ground or whatever the rule is. He just didn't do that, and he's an XFL GOAT Param, so he loves throwing the ball to him. So with that said, who is your lock of the week? And then we're gonna skedaddle out of here.
Yeah, so mine is back on the New England Baltimore game. It is the over 43.5. I see why this line could be low, but the Colts and Ravens game was at 46.5 last week, and I think the New England offense is better than the Colts offense. So that's kind of I guess the way to say it is I don't think the Colts offense is 3 points better than the New England offense. That's the way to put it, I guess, in this game. And the New England defense is worse than the Colts defense. So I like the over 43.5 in this one. You could tease if you can get the Patriots 7.5, tease this down to 37.5 and the Patriots to 13.5. And I think that's a pretty solid Sunday night bet as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think this one is going to be decently high scoring. I feel like the Patriots will just never be completely out of a game up against a team like the Baltimore Ravens. And my biggest issue would be if the Ravens just somehow forget how to score. Like Lamar Jackson, like we talked about earlier, just hasn't been good. Hollywood Brown is literally on Twitter fucking tweeting at him like, you fucking dumb motherfucker. Can you throw me the ball? And then Lamar responds by not throwing the ball last week again. So I really have no idea about this offense. They probably were going to have Des Bryant starting again at wide receiver this week because apparently you can elevate a player from the practice squad twice without signing him. So they're just dicking Des Bryant out of some money, teasing him like Bobby Sylvester teases some pussy. So with that said, I like the over in this one as well. That was a funny joke if you guys are on Twitter, but not funny because that is a bad move. to tweet out something like that at a woman. So with that said, you got anything additional to say on any of these games, or you want to get out of here?
Nah, I mean, we did figure out though, if you took all of our bets so far this year, you'd be up like $1,000. So I'm
Yep.
just saying. I mean, I'm just saying. One of these times, you guys will buy in, and we've already bought in clearly because we're the one making these picks. But one of these times, you guys will buy in, and you'll thank us.
Exactly. And also, real quick, I'm going to give out the picks that I took on DraftKings since we don't have a sponsor yet. So I'll just go ahead and fucking say it. I don't care. I got where is it? Where is it? Fuck, my bad. Guys, 1 second. It is to make the playoffs. Dolphins, $20 grants you 45. They're plus 125 right now. So I took that. And I also took number of games won by the Miami Dolphins over 9. Again, that's because I'm a Dolphins fan. So I will bet on them, but I genuinely believe that they're a good team this year. And I would find it, based upon me looking at the schedule, I found it very hard when I was picking the games for everyone in the NFL that the Dolphins don't end up with the 6th or 7th spot in the playoffs. So I just feel like it's a straight up lock that they at least hit the playoff part. Maybe not the over 9 wins, but if they make the playoffs, they likely win over 9 games. So that's about all. I just brought up some props last week, so I figured I'd bring it up again. And I'm never betting on the Antonio Brown props again because I lost all my money on that last week. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys check out Lucas on Twitter. Is going to be on the screen right now. You can check that out. Check out Lucas. Do you have anything else for them to look at, or are we good?
No, I'm a man of few words.
All right, Lucas is a man of few words and a man of many winning picks. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your guys' day. I love you all, and I'll see you beautiful bastards tomorrow with a video probably. Have a great rest of your guys' day. Goodbye.